Hello again. We're in the green escort today. I've just done some hill climbs in the white escort, and the plan was I was going to use this car to do the hill climbs, but unfortunately this car is UK registered. It's not registered for Jersey, so technically you're not allowed to drive it on the road unless you're driving it to and from the place where you're getting it checked over to make sure it's suitable to go on the road. So I drove it down there last week or the week before. It was just before the hill climbs. It was leaving it last minute, and it failed. They said it can't be registered in Jersey until, I think there was a problem. The exhaust was hitting the exhaust was too low, so it was catching the floor when they tried putting it in there onto their lift, and also it was burning the handbrake cable. I'd noticed previously that the handbrake was only working on one wheel. And there was oil leak from the engine and the gearbox. So what I've been doing is trying to rectify these problems so I can take it back down there. Once they're happy with the oil leaks being sealed and the exhaust has been moved, then hopefully I can get it registered for Jersey and I can start using it. So yeah, video is just about what I've had to do to get it done, and fingers crossed hopefully we can get it through. Hello again. This video I've been working on the green Mark II 4-door Escort, which I bought locally, but the guy who owned it was from the UK. Sadly he passed last week, which is such a shame because I'd only just got to know him. I've seen him around a bit, but I've never spoken to him before. So he used to come over for our festival speeds with the green car. So he ended up leaving the green car here. He went back to the UK and someone was going to buy it, but they didn't in the end. So it was here a couple of years, and it was advertised for sale, so I ended up buying it. But with a UK registered car and a Jersey driving licence, you're not allowed to drive the car on the roads. The only time you can drive it is when you buy it, taking it back to your property, and then from your property taking it down to driver and vehicle standards to get it checked out for roadworthiness so they can register it to go on the roads. So I've had the car for a bit, but I've just had no time. I've been concentrating on the white one and all that. So I wanted to do the GIMF, which is the Jersey International Motoring Festival, which is sprints and hill climbs. So I got the car booked in for a check over at driver and vehicle standards, took it down there. They give it a once over, make sure it's all okay, put it on the ramp, and there was 4 problems. There was the oil leaks from the gearbox, engine, 2 problems. The exhaust was too low, and the exhaust was hitting the handbrake cable and melted through it. So only one wheel was working on the handbrake. One wheel was locking up. So I brought the car back, got it on jacks, got underneath it. Yeah, there was, I lifted up the exhaust. It wasn't a problem. I pulled it back a bit and lifted it up. But that's on the video, you can see all that, and you can see what was involved and what I did and how I got it ready to go back down again for its second inspection. What I've done is I've moved this up about 50 mil to give it a bit more ground clearance. You can see where it's been scraping, and I've moved it back and up to make this further away. What was happening was that the exhaust melted the bit of plastic that went to the handbrake cable. So I've put a tube in, steel tube, and handbrake works fine now on both wheels. Only worked on one wheel before because this had nothing to pull against because the plastic had gone. And I don't know how much we'll be able to see, but it doesn't seem to be coming down the side of the block anywhere, the oil. It's definitely oily on the gearbox, but there could be, it's got an internal hydraulic clutch. It could be from the bleed from that. It could be from the input shaft for the gearbox. It could be the rocker cover, could be the crank seal. I think what I need to do is give it a good clean and see what appears if anything leaks back out again. and have a look from above, see if I get any sign of a rocket cover gasket leaking. Hard to see from here. Right, I'm going to spray it with brake cleaner and give it a wipe, and then see what happens then. Right, that's all clean and dry now. This bit, I don't think it's going to leak on its own. I think I need to like give it a drive and see where it comes from. I'm going to lift the bonnet and see if there's anything obvious up there. See if the rocket cover's leaking. All these Allen keys were loose. And it's a cork gasket by the looks of it. I've ordered a new one, but maybe it was just, but I didn't really see it. It was, you could see it being weeping out the back. It was a bit wet under there. So I've sprayed it, nipped these up. I really need to take it for a spin and see if any fresh oil comes out. I've just checked the Jubilee clips, and a lot of them are quite loose, so I've been tightening them up. But as I tightened this one, it just carried on tightening, and that was it, just fell off. So I'm going to replace it with a newer one, and hopefully, I mean, I didn't notice it was leaking water, but I just checked the water level in the radiator, and it needed a little bit just to top it up. So I will put this on and then run it up and see, check it holds its water now. Right, I'm in my, this is a container I rent, and it's, every time I come in here I think, oh, I should go for a spin on that, and yeah, I should do more. This is where I keep a lot of my wheels for different cars. It is, I do get excited to come up here. I've got so many bits and pieces. Yeah, I've got more stuff up here than I realise that I've got, but I keep putting stuff here. And this is like my spares package for the Escort when I do a rally. So I've just pulled a set of HT leads out because I want to put them on the car. And I'll use the other ones as spares. I'll use the good ones. Auto test wheels. Anyway, what I've come to see, I've got to measure the length of those gearboxes. I think that's a Vauxhall bell housing on that one, which be, oh, wind caught the door, hang on. Yes, I need to measure those. They're 15Gs, H pattern, dog gearboxes, straight cut, brutal, but bulletproof. They were developed for the Sierra Cosworth Turbo, so they handle 600 horsepower or something. Right, and this is the same gearbox, but this is a sequential version. I've actually got one of these in BMW as well. Don't know how I've ended up with so many. I think because no one likes them, and I do. I think they're great. I think sequentials are good, but I hate the patterns. You feel like you're driving a car then, rather than playing a PlayStation game. But this is what I think I'll put in the... I've got to measure them up and see what, if they're both the same length, then I can decide which one I want to put in the Escort. The Escort's got a bad oil leak in the gearbox, and I want to rebuild the Escort gearbox. I do quite like it. It's a 4-speed rocket box. So I'll swap this over to get it through and registered. It's got to be checked, and that was one of the faults on the previous check, that the gearbox was leaking. So was the engine. But I could sort the engine leak out. That was the rocket cover gasket. Yeah, so I measure these. Right, onto the green one now. I've just measured from where the gearbox meets the bell housing to the tail shaft, and it's 600 millimeters. So I presume it's the yeah, the shaft probably sticks out a little bit more. I'll just compare that with the size I got from before. Hopefully there's a bit of play on that prop shaft, so I might be able to just drop the gearbox in. That'd be great if it's quick release and I can just unbolt it and slide the gearbox out and slide the new one in. That would be ideal. I know the gear sticks have been in a slightly different place. Well, I'm guessing it is, maybe it's not. I might start taking this out. Right, the gearbox has got to come out. I'm just trying to find a drain bung on it, because I remember these, when you pull the prop shaft down, put an angle on them, the fluid all comes out the tail of it. I've just had a thought. It's a big gearbox, the 15G. I think that the tunnel isn't going to be big enough for it to fit in, which causes more problems. But I'll take this one out and then we'll have a look and see, measure up and see if, I know it's not going to go in, but I was hoping it would be these bolts here would be accessible from this side, like the quick release ones, so I could just take the box out. But I'll have to take the bell housing off anyway to see. It looks like there's oil coming out from the clutch, or well, it seems more like oil than clutch fluid. I think there's oil coming out from the rear main, or it's so much coming out of the input shaft on the gearbox, it's making its way down there. That might be why it's crunching in third. Maybe it's got a lack of oil in it. Well, it doesn't appear to have a drain bolt on it. So I'll start with the rear axle. I'll undo the, not the rear axle, the prop shaft. I'll undo the prop shaft, take that bracket off, and I'll put something underneath it. I hate gearbox oil. And then I'll start undoing the bell housing. I'll probably leave the prop on until I get all the bolts off the bell housing and take that off last thing when it's ready to come out, and put a tray underneath it. That's all the bolts off the bell housing, which I'm amazed at. I've been at it for 45 minutes with the prop disconnected, not really knowing what I'm doing, on the floor with the car jacked up. So compared to a BMW, that is incredible. That's a joy to do that. Oh, the starter motor is an Edge one, I think they're called. The gear reduction one. They're expensive, they are. They're supposed to be quite good. Right, the problem I've got, well, not the problem, but what I'm not 100% sure about is the concentric clutch slave cylinder. If I just pull this out now, does it stay on the, do I have to disconnect it? I don't know. I'll have a look and see how the pipe goes in there, and see if I can disconnect that. Right, the clutch, hydraulic clutch pipe goes in from the bulkhead into the back of the starter motor, where the starter motor housing is by the looks of it. I'll get under the car and have a look. Yeah, it goes in there. So I'm not sure what happens when it gets in there, but there doesn't seem to be any other pipe coming out, so I'm not sure how you bleed it. Right, that pipe on this side is the bleed pipe. So on the other side of this, in the bulkhead, it's got like a bleed nipple on it. This is the one that there's one at the back of the starter motor opening this side that comes from where the old clutch cable used to be. There's a pipe that runs down and goes into the clutch. So I'm guessing I can disconnect it where it goes to braided. If you can see. Yeah, it goes. Yeah, you can't really see. Yeah, I can disconnect that there. I can disconnect this one from here, pull the gearbox out, and I'll just have to bleed it later. There's going to be a few drops on the floor, but I've got some containers to put that in. I've used the suction thing to get all the fluid out of the clutch cylinder, so now I'm going to disconnect it and try and catch what comes out. Mind you, there's a bit of an oil slick on the floor anyway. Yeah, they're right, it has been leaking quite badly. Yeah, it stings quite a bit when you get it in the eye, the brake fluid. This is what came out of from the master cylinder to the slave cylinder. I disconnected it on the bulkhead side. So I'm just letting this bleed a bit before I disconnect it, and the gearbox should be able to come out, fingers crossed. Well, that's 1 hour 35 minutes, and I'm amazed. That was a joy to do. I've had it standing up on its nose, and it's emulsified. For some reason there's water in with the oil. It's a bit of a mess in there. So I think the best bet is to take the concentric clutch off. Oh no, I can leave that on, undo those 4 bolts and pull the bell housing off and see what the input seal's like. But I'd say, I don't know. I don't know if it's leaking out the top. I don't think so. It doesn't seem to be going down. I think the oil on it is, I think it's the input seal. I'm running late. I'm out tonight. I've got to have a shower. I'm a mess. Covered in oil. Brake fluid in the eye. I've been wearing gloves. I've got to pull that off and have a look. I can't leave it like that. Just out of interest. I'm trying to keep the back end raised slightly so oil doesn't start coming out of it. I need to drain it out. Right, let's pull the front off and have a look. I've just disconnected the 3 Allen keys holding the slave cylinder, the concentric slave cylinder in, and the front just popped off. So it looks like it's not coming out the middle bit, but around the edge here. So I know if I take that off though, oil's going to start coming out. I need to get the oil out of it before I go any further, but I'm not doing it now. I've not got enough time. I've got a Haynes manual which is quite good and explains what's where. I might have a quick look at that and see the picture and see if there's like a big seal or a small seal that goes around the edge. I've ordered a seal, but it was the input shaft seal, which I'm guessing is that one. So this is probably a different one. Yeah, I think I'll go and have a look. That's amazing to get the gearbox off in that time, and that's my first go. So if I did it again, it'd be even quicker. Obviously, putting it back in is going to be a bit of an uphill struggle, but I know where the bits are and what to do. And I did have one issue where I started disconnecting the clutch hydraulic pipe and accidentally disconnected the rear brake pipe. So I need to rebleed the brakes, which is probably a good thing. The fluid in the from the reservoir to the concentric cylinder was extremely dirty, really black. But I've had that, like on the BMW, you get the front and brake pots for the fluids stay clean, but the clutch one always goes dirty for some reason. I don't know why. I've had a look at the Haynes manual, and it shows a gearbox with the bell housing connected to the gearbox. It's not got one with a removable one. So it looks like a different type of gearbox. I think this is a Rocket 4-speed. What I'll do, I'm not seeing the girlfriend until later tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday. I'm going to take the round bit off the front of the gearbox. I'm a bit surprised that the oil is like emulsified. Looks like it's got water contamination somewhere. But yeah, and I've got the Haynes manual. It shows you how to rebuild the box, which I've done. Peugeot 205 gearboxes. I've stripped them down, not rebuilt them, just stripped them down, put them back together again. To change crown or pinion, you have to pull the gears off the shaft, and it's pretty straightforward if you do it all one piece at a time. If you've got all bits all over the bench, it's going to be a nightmare. So I might open it up tomorrow, take all the gears out, have a look, check them all out, see what's wrong with third gear, because it is crunching going into third. Could be because it's got water in the oil. Synchro might have gone, or there's other things that can go hub or something. So I'll find out more tomorrow and have a look into it. And it's quite a good thing to do. I didn't want to get this involved with the car. We've got the rally in 4 weeks, the main rally for the white Escort, but that's had a good test over the weekend. We've got a slight misfire, but I think that's HC leads or dodgy fuel. So I've changed HC leads. I'll suck the fuel out. Anyway, I'm not going on about that car. Right, I'm going to jump in the shower and get drunk, I suppose, and then get it all sorted out, strip it down tomorrow and see what's what. Right, there is a bit of a wobble on that. I don't know if that's normal. There's a seal that goes around this edge, which could be leaking. I need to get this off. What I think I'll do is clean it up first and then put it upside down in the bucket and see where it's leaking out from. So I'm guessing this is the bit you get from Rally Design, probably, with the concentric clutch slave cylinder, which it seems to work quite well. I might do it on this car because I've still got a cable that runs under the exhaust, and I'm very worried that it's going to get burnt. Right, let's tip it upside down. I've cleaned it all up, so I should see where the oil's coming from. Yeah, I've just I've put it back upright again. There was quite a bit of emulsified oil that came out. It seems to be coming from this bit here. So I don't know how what that does, how it's sealed in, if it comes off. I'll have a fiddle about with it and see. Well, I put the top off, and this looks like it's a cap that you can pull this shaft out of, unless you get the shaft out that way, or maybe put something in to tap it out. But yeah, it's got a little bit of a wobble on it, but I can't get it out. I might try popping it out so I can put some sealant around it and stick it back in again. But I don't know what I'm looking for in here. It's all straight cut. I do like this gearbox. There seems to be, I don't know. I don't know. It works all right, apart from a clonk getting into third. But I was speaking to someone last night, and he said that could be down to an issue with the oil. So if the oil's emulsified, that would make sense. But I don't know how water would have got in there, or why it would be that colour. Now I'm going to get like a small Allen key in there and see if I can tap this out. I've just pulled the front seal bit off, and there was a seal in a groove here, but this bearing looks like it's sticking out a bit. That doesn't look right. And there is a bit of a wobble on this, but it looks like two different parts. There's the first part of the shaft, and it connects onto the second part. So I'd say that's probably because this bearing's a bit not as it should be. It's got a circlip on it to stop it going too far in, but not to stop it coming out this way, which is a bit weird. Right, I'm not sure if it's meant to do this. I thought it would have been a bit tighter in there. But we have got, it looks like when the cover goes on, it pushes the bearing in to keep it in place. So I wonder what's happened to the seal. I must have pulled it out and put it somewhere. Right, I've put it back together again. I've cleaned up the inside of the bell housing. It was filthy. Looks like it's had a few marks from something coming in contact with it. What I've got to do now is take the flywheel off, take the clutch, check the clutch plate out, take the flywheel off and make sure there's nothing wrong with the crank seal. But we've got rain and I'm not lying on the floor in the wet. So I think I'll leave that now. I'll give it a chance to fully set. I'm going to give the garage a clean up because this gearbox oil is everywhere. The oil that's come out of the gearbox is so thin because it's all watered down. I've got some proper transmission oil, Miller's stuff, that's supposed to be really good. So it's from the sequential box, but I presume it'll be the same for this one. So I'm going to, I think I'll just stand it up. No, I won't stand it up because I'll let the sealant go off first. I'll just leave it there. And then hopefully tomorrow, it's Sunday, I can get it back in. Hopefully it'll be dry and not leak. Well, I was going to pull the flywheel and clutch off, but there's quite a gap between the flywheel and the engine block, and I can see there's no oil coming out of the rear crank seal. There is dirt and oil on the faceplate, but the oil coming out of the gearbox must have been spattering about everywhere in there, so I'll brake clean that off. But I don't think I need to take the flywheel and clutch off. It looks like a normal clutch in there. Yeah, so I think I'll get some brake clean on that and give it a good clean up before I put the gearbox back on. That's all that brake cleaner's up. I need to get some measurements of the gearbox tunnel. It's a bit awkward to film because I'm upside down under the car. So I can check to see if the 15G gearbox will fit. I know, I think the 60G is a replacement for the Type 9. I'll measure it up anyway, rather than have to take this one out again and try it. Right, I've just jacked it up after I drive. The engine is dry as a bone. There's no oil on that. But we have got a leak from the tail shaft of the gearbox, which is a bit annoying. So I'm guessing it's the same sort of problem it was at the front. But to get the tail shaft off, it's a bit more complicated. It moves the gearbox out again, which is a bit of a pain. It's not much of a leak. Before taking it down there, I did order some bits for it. Gasket set, water pump, cam belt, V-belt, HT leads, thermostat housing, set of plugs, cam belt tensioner, 2 oil filters and 2 thermostats for some reason. I've got an 82 degree and an 88 degree. So I need to, the idea was to get that on the car before I took it down there. Oh, there's a gearbox seal. This is the, I'm guessing that's the gearbox seal. I think I've got an output shaft seal, and I've probably got a lot more seals and gaskets I need. There's a new cork gasket for the rocker cover. Yeah, but unfortunately these didn't arrive until after the car had been down there. There was an issue with the thermostat, so it delayed the postage of it. But yeah, they're cheap. Pinto parts are cheap from Burton, and looking forward to getting all them on. Yeah, I just went to move the Escort, the green one, and it just clicked as I went to start it, so I put a jump pack on it. It still just clicked, so I'm going to give, it's a bit manky in there. I'll give it a clean up and see how that works. Right, I've taken it apart. When you turn the ignition on and press the start button, this is a solenoid that's on an electromagnet and gets forced down there, and this part makes a connection between this and that. So that is the main power going in, and that it's like a switch that puts power to the starter motor to get it rotating, and that all looks a bit chewed up in there. So I'm going to give it a clean. That side doesn't look too bad, it's more that side. I'll give it a clean. I'll clean up this area where it hits, and give the brushes a clean. The brushes are in here, behind there. And then we'll try it back in again and see how that works. There seems to be plenty of life left on the brushes, but we'll clean them anyway. Right, that's the starter motor cleaned up and put back in. This is the heat screen, but for some reason, even with the isolate, that's not on. That's the heat screen on. So I obviously had the heat screen on, came back, turned the main power isolator off, and it stopped working. Right, this will be interesting. Oh, so as a consequence of that, the battery went flat. So we'll see if it works now. No. It's like a drain because the charger note changes. That's really weird. That's the third time it's done that. The last time we had to push it out of the way, and then it just started after that. And the other time I put it in gear and I rocked it and it started, which makes me think it's got like a loose connection. But the starter feed is definitely doing something, because you can hear it clicking on the starter. The starter cable is so thin, that might be a bit of an issue. So I could try 12 volts directly to the starter motor and see what happens there. I'll try it on the jump pack. Yeah, really weird, because I put the jump pack on and the jump pack's saying no, there's a short or something on the starter, but when I put it onto the battery it doesn't say that. So I think I need to get this panel off and have a look and see if it's a problem with the switch. Well, if I turn power on, and I've got a supply going to the battery supply cable. Yeah, I think we need to have a bit of a sort out. I was going to get it sorted out anyway, but not just yet. The idea was I was going to drive up the shed today, but it's too late now. That looks like quite a bit of corrosion on the terminal, which isn't going to be helping things. I might just take them off and give them a clean up and see what happens. Oh, a bit of been there before, haven't we? So there's spades wedged under the connectors, soldered. There's all sorts going on there. Right, so I've just got the jump pack on it. Out of interest. Yeah, strange. Because it did click a couple of times first. I think because there's no battery in it, the jump pack's struggling with a lack of power. Very odd. That's very interesting. Well, if you look at the light for the ignition that's turned off, I turn the power on. No, I turn the main power off. That lights up. That's very strange. And that's with the isolator off. That'll be why, because I've got all the power going to the one. What I've done is I've lengthened a lot of the cables because you couldn't move this forward. It could only go forward a little bit, and it's getting access to everything was a nightmare. And I've just put it all back together again, tried firing it up, but the main ignition feed was so tight it pulled off, so I've just extended that one. I'm doing it now so I can put this back and have the isolator there on the floor, just temporary, just so I can get it all up and running, because this needs sorting out. This box is terrible, and I'm going right and drive, so all the dash is moving to that side. So I'll redo it all anyway. I just thought I'd try it and see if it worked. Just tried the starter motor and it just fired up. So maybe it was a wiring issue. I wasn't giving it enough power. Right, I can move it now.